The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of some OPTAVIA coaches or clients of OPTAVIA. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the OPTAVIA team.
Hey everyone, welcome to our Habits of Health webinar tonight. My name is Jan Paxman and I am a certified OPTAVIA coach, and I'm so excited to be here with you tonight. We are gonna have us some fun because it's Independence Day Eve, right? And we are going to be talking about our freedom. And I am so excited because I'm going to be joined tonight by two of the coaches that I have the privilege of working with, Jennifer Brown and Gwen Peterson. And we are excited because it is time to declare our independence. I know that as you guys celebrate this weekend and you have time with your family and friends and you're out there enjoying the freedom that we have, I hope that you'll take just a minute and think back to the founding fathers that started this whole thing. They worked so hard fighting for our freedom. Many of them died for it. And since then, many more men and women have died for this freedom. But this has not been like a one-shot deal where they just started it and it just worked perfectly and then they finished it, right? This was a process. Freedom is a process. And the definition, I've listed it here. Freedom is the power or right to think, speak, and act as one wants without hindrance or restraint. Okay? So as we think about that, the things we think about, speak, and act on truly bring us freedom, or do they? So my question to you is, do you feel free in this country? Put a freedom in the chat if you truly feel free in this country in every way. Now that you're experiencing this program, freedom from oppression with your health. Sometimes we tend to put ourselves in bondage by the way we think, the way we speak, the words that we say to ourselves, and the way we act. And sometimes that turns into an oscillating structure where we are starting and stopping, or we're engaged, or we're trying to get away from what we're starting. We're stopping, we're going back and forth. It's always this back and forth oscillating structure, which reminds me of Dr. A's chapter 3 in our Habits of Health system. When we engage in moving forward within a structure, there's going to be ups and downs, right? There always is. But when we work together to move forward, not thinking it has to be perfect, but that we focus on our goal, and when the challenges come, we don't retreat. We just keep pushing forward. So as we think about this 4th of July, I want you to really seriously give it some consideration about where you are within your freedom. Do you find yourself pushing through? Do you find yourself starting and then stopping, and then starting and then stopping? Or are you on this journey consistently moving toward the goal? Freedom is sometimes defined as a lack of resistance. And that can be kind of a dangerous thing, because when we all of a sudden find ourselves free, we sometimes can get ourselves into trouble. Just like the guy who wins the lottery and all of a sudden he's free with a lot of money. Sometimes in a couple of years, that money's totally gone because there's a lack of resistance, right? But as we begin to understand that freedom, when we reach our health goals, we get to choose a new goal, which keeps that structure in place. Just like it says in Dr. A's chapter 3, we find a new goal right ahead of us that keeps us in that structure, that resistance that helps us keep moving forward. So Jen, I'm going to turn it over to you and have you just help develop this a little bit more. Can you take it away from here?
I sure can. Thanks so much for asking me to participate tonight. It's such an honor to be sharing with my fellow OPTAVIANs. I am certainly a proud American citizen, and I am truly thankful for the freedoms we have in our country. And I think we as OPTAVIANs are here to help bring Dr. Anderson's mission to get our country healthy, and then it's going to be even a better place. And this week's Habits of Health newsletter, just what you were talking about, Jan, is all about all or nothing thinking. And I want to chat a little bit tonight about creating some freedom around that thinking. Now, this is not a political statement, but here's what I'm going to say. We all have the freedom of choice. So in relation to health, I truly believe that every choice moves us one direction or another. Stephen Covey says that while we are free to choose our actions, we are not free to choose the consequences of our actions. And when I think about the choices that I've made over my life, I can see how the little ones and big ones add up over time and created some of the challenges I've had to deal with. So often I've fallen into the trap of that all or nothing mindset, that thinking. And the single biggest roadblock in our way is that mindset. You know, Dr. Anderson has a great acronym for the word diet. Deprivation, invading every thought. Diet. Now, I went on my first diet when I was in junior high. And of course, I look back and now I wonder why I made that choice. But I think that choice to start a diet began an unhealthy relationship with food. I would proceed over my high school years and college years. Okay, pretty much my entire life. Hopping from one diet to another. The latest, greatest thing. I was a great dieter. I lose weight. Yay, Jennifer, you did it. And guess what? Over time, I'd go back to my old habits and my weight would come back on, and usually then some. Can anyone else who's listening tonight relate to this? If that's you, say, that's me. Make sure I'm not alone. But you see, on all the different diets I did, all I had to do to quote unquote be successful was deprive myself for a while. We can all deprive ourselves of something for a while. So when we're in, we're in. But if we're tired of depriving ourselves, we're out of there. See, with these freedoms I had, I was always either in or out, or on or off. I was always the hardcore Monday kind of girl. I'll start hardcore on Monday. I will. I promise. This time, really, I'll do it. You know, it's not the right time. It's summer. It's 4th of July, and I've got this vacation plan. I'll start after our vacation. Or it's the holidays. I'll start in the new year. You know what? There's a holiday every month of the year except for August. And there's probably some birthdays or anniversaries in there to be celebrated too. We get caught in this start and stop loop. It usually starts with waiting for the perfect time. We're waiting for a boost of motivation. But the minute things get hectic or don't feel perfect anymore, we slam on the brakes. And I think about the tire analogy. If we get a flat tire on the freeway, do we get out and slash the other 3 tires? No, but we do that with our health all the time, where we make a choice that's off plan or not optimal, and we throw the rest of the day or week or month out the window. It's a vicious cycle of stalling, starting, and stopping. And unrealistic expectations are the chains we place on ourselves. That weight we are carrying, literally and figuratively, is what sets us up for failure. But the good news for us tonight is that the tools that we have in OPTAVIA are what sets us up for progress. Jan, you said it earlier, it's not about perfection, but little steps over time that are going to add up to creating the life and the health that we want. So I want to tell you a brief part of my story. Since discovering OPTAVIA, I have found so much freedom from the all or nothing mindset because of the unique tools we are given. You can see from this picture, it was the 4th of July. This was about 10 years ago. Here I am at our local hometown 4th of July picnic in South Pasadena, California. My husband and 3 kids, blessed and so thankful as can be. But this picture represents many of the choices I had made with my freedom over time. A smile on the outside, but pre-diabetic, joints hurting, tired all the time with no energy, inflammation in my body. But I had freedom, didn't I? Or did I? Because you see, when we're in that diet mentality or deprivation mindset, we often think of the things we have to deprive ourselves of. I remember this 4th of July day, Jan, and yes, I was on a diet at the time. I remember feeling deprived because I couldn't have the hot dogs or the red, white, and blue snow cones that my kids were having. And of course, you can probably guess I ended up sneaking bites of their food, hence ruining my diet. And I had made the I'm out decision, and subconsciously I felt free. I'm free to eat that hot dog and snow cone. But are we? I mean, are we free? Is that freedom? Because how I felt in my clothes that day didn't feel like freedom. The low energy, that didn't feel like freedom. Making these choices over time added up and then deprived me of the way I wanted to be. So when I found OPTAVIA and learned that their motto was lifelong transformation that happens one healthy habit and choice at a time, I grabbed onto all 4 components: my coach helping and guiding me, my awesome community, the fuelings, and because this battle is done in the 6 inches between our ears, I grabbed on to the Habits of Health book and workbook to help rewire my thinking and create new neural pathways in my brain to make the choices that would give me true freedom. That second picture, I lost 55 pounds in 6 months. I have to contend for my health and choices every day, but still, you see, when you change your mindset and you partner with your future self, you realize you don't want to deprive yourself of creating the best version of you. That would be true deprivation. So while there's a definite physical transformation between these pictures, the bigger transformation for me is in my mindset. And you can't take a picture of that, but I'm so grateful. So let's learn how we can all experience the freedom from this all or nothing thinking. First, before you can change self-sabotaging thoughts, you must first learn to spot them. Dave Blanchard, one of my friends and great mentor of mine, he talks about metacognition. Us humans are the only species on Earth that can hear our own thoughts. And the good thing is, it's just a thought. We are not our thoughts, but we give a lot of power to those thoughts. So just learn to stand back and hear the thoughts. Be aware of words like always or never or perfect. I eat during the day, but always binge at night. I never make it more than 3 weeks. It all comes crashing down. Now is not a good time. There's too much happening. I'm waiting for the perfect time to start or jump back into fat burn. Just start by hearing the thoughts. You've got to spot them. Now, secondly, once we've spotted them and heard them, take note of where we are. Describe the situation. Are we at work and stressed? Is it the kids? Are we tired? And step 3, capture the stories you tell. In this step, we want to capture the thought we had immediately after the triggering event. This thought was likely subconscious or automatic, but keep in mind, you'll likely have more than one thought, but write it down if you can. This is how you're going to learn to better identify those sabotaging thoughts. And then step 4, pinpoint the emotions your story triggers. Describe the feelings, write them down. Describe those emotions or our thought created. Again, overwhelmed, maybe from the amount of work on your plate, frustrated, this is turning out to be another failed attempt, angry at yourself, you can't manage to conjure the willpower to keep it up, despair that something always seems to get in the way, but maybe you've even felt a sense of relief that you can finally come up for air and avoid the discomfort of change. Whatever emotion you are feeling, write it down. And then step 5, describe the result of your thoughts and emotions. What did that choice lead to? And challenge, step 6, your initial thoughts. Is it true? Because remember, it's just a thought. Because your thoughts are actually serving you in some way. And then step 7, choose a new thought, and better yet, a new action. Does anybody recognize this process as stop, challenge, choose? It's one of the foundational tools in OPTAVIA that Dr. A teaches us. If we can put this process in our tool belt, then we can apply it to our health, our families, our work life. And when we get good at the skill of identifying the all or nothing mindset and we use stop, challenge, and choose, we have a key component to create freedom. I'm pretty sure, Jan, that if our forefathers knew of OPTAVIA, they would realize that it could play a pretty big role in the pursuit of happiness. But every day, I'm finding freedom and joy in this journey. Jan, I'm going to send it back to you, my friend.
Gotta unmute myself. Jen, that was so wonderful. Thank you for those wonderful thoughts that you shared with us. I just love the way she went through so systematically describing our stop, challenge, and choose process. So fantastic. And it made me think about a practice that I've been doing recently, and I've encouraged a lot of my clients to do. And that is to take a piece of paper and write down a vision of what you see, the best version of yourself, and how that person, how he or she feels in the very best version of herself or himself. When you do that, you will be able to imagine what you're looking like, how you're feeling, what you're wearing, what your emotions are, where you're standing, what's going on. And as you write it out and write the words and then actually speak the words, that vision right there it allows you to feel the emotion of having gone through that stop, challenge, and choose process. It's always a process. It's like life is a treadmill. We're always on that treadmill. We never stop. Even when we reach our goals, we stay on that treadmill, helping move forward. If we stop, guess what happens? We go backwards. And we don't want to do that. So as that process continues to occur, we are going through the steps each day. We're not perfect, but we're moving forward, making the right choices, recognizing the thoughts. And if you'll take a picture of what you write down as your vision statement and put it in your phones, every time you have a challenge that you feel like is going to throw you off and throw you into that, oh, well, I just made a mistake, I'm going to pitch the whole thing, go back and read it. Read it, and you'll go right back into the headspace that you were in when you wrote it. And it allows you to get the vision again of where you're going and why that freedom is so important to you. Who is going to benefit from that? Not just you, but others around you and everything you do. And so anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. And now I'm going to send this over to Gwen Peterson, and she's going to go ahead and explain more about what this means.
Yes, thanks, Jan. And I love those 7 steps of Jen's. Those are words to live by as you are making the decision of what you want for your health. And I love this thought triangle because let's talk about it in the negative, which is where most of us were prior to OPTAVIA, working on figuring out how to make the choice and stay consistent with what we want for our health. And so first, if we start with thoughts, I'm gonna go back to an old story that Jan used to help me with when I first started OPTAVIA. Was one of the things that I would struggle with was Sam's Club cupcakes or cakes that are huge. I don't know about you guys, but Sam's Club makes these massive cakes. And when you have a birthday party, normally this massive sheet cake doesn't get eaten yet. So then the next day it's sitting on my counter. And then as you start going, your thoughts go, I'm not going to eat the cake. I'm not going to eat the cake. What's one bite going to be? Maybe I could do one bite. And then the next thing you know, your emotions take over and you're tired and you just got done with this big party. And guess what happens? You're eating the cake with a fork. And then you have to start all over again and say, I'm not going to make that choice again. Throw a 1 in the comments if anybody else has gone through that rabbit hole of, I'm going to stay consistent to, I'm not going to do it. What's one bite? And then forget it. You've had way too many bites, right? So on the flip side, I finally have conquered the Sam's Club cupcake, funny enough, because I have decided I am stronger and deserve more and honor myself more than that cake. And so I order the smaller one. And when we're done, we don't even bring it home because then I don't have to decide if I'm going to choose the positive of this thought triangle or go down the rabbit hole in a negative because I know what I want for my health. So, well, Sam's Club, I love you, and it's one of my favorite cakes. I know what I'm choosing for myself. So here's something funny that I wonder if many of you guys found. When you start OPTAVIA, you get to just make a choice. And now you're not going through this thought triangle anymore of, what am I going to eat? Am I going to make the right choices? Am I going to make this, this, and this? And then all of a sudden, your brain is free of all of that I would have, should have, could have dialogue. It opens up that freedom of your brain to be able to just think healthier, positive thoughts. And I remember prior to OPTAVIA, I remember thinking, if I had $1 for every time I thought about, I should really focus on what I'm eating, I really should go to the gym, I really shouldn't be finishing the chicken nuggets and the pizza rolls that my kids aren't finishing. Throw a 2 in the comments if you, like me, could have had $1 for every person, every time you thought about a negative thought, that you would be a multimillionaire by now because of all those thoughts that fill your head, and you're in that blame, shame, and guilt category, right? It's so crazy. Where when you have OPTAVIA, you don't have to be in that cycle anymore because you have the freedom. You're choosing to fuel your body every 3 hours with healthy food to get one step closer to your optimal goal and optimal health. And I love this saying that comes up that says, your thoughts are only as powerful as the power you give them. And I used to joke that there's a few nationally syndicated shows about people that lose weight, and we watch them. So throw the 3 in the comments if back in the day you used to sit in front of the TV and watch these weight loss shows, right? But what's funny is I found that so many of my friends, we would sit there with a bowl of ice cream, stressed out for these people on these weight loss shows, right? But then on the flip side, I remember thinking, if I could go to one of those places in an isolated scenario, I could be successful. Throw a 4 in the comments if you have ever thought, if I could like go somewhere where I didn't have to think about the food, I could be successful forever. But the reality is that's an isolated bubble, that's not real optimal health. It's this little moment in time. And so for me, I've had this really interesting dynamic circle around to me. So I have this new client, her name is Melissa. And in 2009, she was chosen out of thousands of applicants to be one of 5 people that had the opportunity to go on a national show and work with a very well-known trainer to get healthy. And they had all of these shows that she would go on nationally. And she's 5'3" at 191 pounds. And her results were, she only lost 22 pounds in 9 months. And then what do you think happened? Once those 9 months were over, the segment of that show was over. Do you guys think she kept her weight off? No, because all she received, which is what most people get when they are in a diet mentality, is what's the nutrition that you're focusing on and what's the working out. But we know with OPTAVIA, that's only a piece of the puzzle, is the nutrition. If we don't dive into the community and dive into Dr. A's tools, we will never keep any weight off. And so I asked her, I said, I would have assumed that the pressure of being on a nationally syndicated show with your results, getting in front of the nation, would have kept your feet to the fire a little stronger. And she goes, you know, Gwen, what's interesting is I lost about 10 pounds my first 6 weeks, but then I don't know what happened. I kept doing the same thing, but I wasn't getting the results. And I said, Melissa, but really, were you doing the same thing? Were you eating a few more bites of this? Were you eating larger portions? Do you think you really weren't being as consistent as you thought? And then you kind of go down the cycle of, well, I'm not going to be on the show for another 4 weeks. So what's going to hurt if I eat some unhealthy stuff this weekend and then refocus again on Monday, like Jen said. And so she was talking to me about how ironic it is that she had the nutrition coaching and even the working out coaching, but none of our tools like Jen was just talking about. And so the really exciting thing about her journey, getting to be on a nationally syndicated show, not only having gained the 22 pounds back, but more weight, is she just wrapped up week 3 with OPTAVIA, and she is down 8 pounds in just 3 weeks. But what excites me even more is she said to me yesterday, Gwen, this is the first time in my life, and she's in her mid-40s, that I'm doing something that I know will get me where I want to be with my health. Because I have you as a coach, I have a community of people on Facebook, I have Dr. A's tools, and together that's what this is it's all encompassing. It's not just about the food, it's not just about the coach, it's not just about the community, and it's not just about the tools. It's doing the whole program. As we say, we know our program creates predictable transformation if you do the entire program. So that would be my one challenge to you, is let yourself have the freedom of all that negative dialogue in your head and just make the choice to choose health and choose every 3 hours what you want for your own health and for your family and the energy that you're bringing into your home. Because we all know when we're eating bite after bite after cake, we're not very nice to our kids or maybe our spouse. So just choose wisely, make the choice. And like Jen said, and Jen also, it's stop, challenge, and choose. Dr. A couldn't have said it any better. I'll pass it back over to you, Jen.
Thank you, Gwen, so much. That was fantastic. Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that I partnered with these two today. I love this slide. There is a picture of someone over here roasting marshmallows, doing s'mores, just like a lot of us are going to be doing tomorrow. And there's somebody with a s'more bar stuck on a skewer roasting that thing, so it's going to come off ooey gooey and yummy. You know what? That person's making a choice. They're making a choice to make it fun, to figure out how to use the program to help them have the things that they want without having to go through that whole oscillating structure of starting again and blaming and shaming. It's not about that. It's about freedom of choice. And every time we make a good choice, guess what? It not only serves us, but it also, like Gwen mentioned, it serves our family. I just want to quickly say the examples we are setting as we create this new mind space, we pass along to our children. And those children, as I went to a carnival the other day and I was watching all the little kids with big, massive cotton candies and all the candy from the carnival and everything. And I'm thinking, are we setting our kids up for freedom or for bondage? Oh, really, let's think about that. The examples that we're setting are going to ripple out so many ways. I just want to share the last thing, that when we engage in escape, when we stay in the game, we just keep making the best possible choice. If we make a mistake, it's okay. Finish out the day strong. Keep moving forward. You're going to find that you will succeed. And over time, those little choices will turn into big, big results. So it's a path of self-mastery is what it is. And we can all do it together. So we get to define what's possible. We have all the foundation that we need. We've got the nutrition. We've got our OPTAVIA coach, we've got our habits of health system or our community, get this in the right order, and we've got our habits of health system. We have everything we need to be hugely successful. And so as we move into this holiday weekend, you guys, let's let freedom ring.
This audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some OPTAVIA coaches or clients of OPTAVIA. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the OPTAVIA team.